Yeah, Nick, welcome to the program, and thank you for your time. This is interesting. I don't think anyone saw this coming, really. Let's start with this cultural and audience question, right? Because the deal focuses on Raw. The value of the deal, we're reporting $5 billion over 10 years. But there might be an audience out there that's like the most loyal SmackDown fan that says, hey, I'd love to be watching WWE SmackDown on streaming platforms as well.
Sure, understood. Look, we're pleased with the deal, and we love the fact that Netflix was willing to take a bet on us. As we know, they had said previously that they were not into sports rights. The good thing about WWE, it's sports entertainment, as you said before the quick break there. So we're an entertainment property as much as we are a sports property. 52 weeks a year live, consistent programming, an audience that is actually quite global. If you look at India, and India is not part of this deal, but if you look at India, we're the second most popular sport in India. If you look at the United Kingdom, we're the fourth most popular sport there. This deal will take effect in the UK. So in addition to the United States, it allows us to gain even a greater global footprint as we look to expand the business.
Well, Nick, I want to talk a little bit more about the decision to go with Netflix, go with a streamer versus staying with a Comcast, for example. Did this purely come down to numbers where you were going to get the better deal, or is this, in effect, a bet on where the future eyeballs are going to be?
Well, look, we continue to love NBCU. We have SmackDown on USA premiering this October there. We have our premium live events, formerly our pay-per-views, like WrestleMania on Peacock exclusively in the United States. They've been tremendous. For us with Raw, it was yet another test of someone new in the space, obviously an established streaming entity, the streaming entity, if you will. It was a good bet by us, and we think a good bet by them.
Nick, there's kind of two sides to it, right, from 2025. The regularity of a by appointment tuning into Raw, and then there are the pay-per-view events and specials throughout the year. Historically, if you think about Showtime, the distributor got 30% from a revenue split perspective. My understanding is that if you're a Netflix user, there's no additional cost for WrestleMania or those set-piece events. Are you able to clarify that if you're not a Netflix subscriber, you do just pay a normal pay-per-view charge? And how will you and Netflix split those revenues globally? Because a lot of this is ex-US, right? It's an international deal.
Correct. You're 100% correct. There is no upcharge for WrestleMania or the other premium live events anywhere in the globe where it's on Netflix. No upcharge. The 30% you talk about, the traditional pay-per-view model, WWE was the first mover to get out of that space in 2014 when we started WWE Network, which brought WWE direct-to-consumer on our own OTT platform. From there, 2 or 3 years ago, we licensed that content to Peacock. That was when the streaming wars began. What we realized was a company of our size, as great as we'd like to believe we are, we're not going to compete technologically with the Amazons of the world, with the Netflixes of the world, with the NBCUs of the world. So it made sense to start it in 2014 to get rid of that excessive charge that in-demand, Dish, Direct were charging for pay-per-views, and to bring the cost down for our consumer. We think Netflix furthers that.
Let's talk about ad pricing a little bit more here. Does this give you greater ad pricing power, this deal?
We think so. Look, you've seen what Amazon's been able to do on their ad-supported tier. Netflix is going to have great success in that space. WWE, again, 3 hours a week on Raw every week allows Netflix to monetize this deal in the advertising space in a way that has not been seen before.
Hey, Nick, Raw has this kind of super loyal and sizable audience, but there must be a part of this deal where you're like, okay, we need to think about the future and growing a new audience. And I wondered if there's any terms in the deal when Netflix goes away and produces a behind-the-scenes kind of documentary exclusive to Netflix that introduces WWE to that new audience. Think about, like, what am I thinking of? Drive to Survive and Formula One and the success that that had, bringing a sport to a new audience.
It would be a mistake by us at WWE to not do that with Netflix. So assume that what you said is exactly what we're all thinking, we being Netflix and WWE. You saw what Drive to Survive did for Formula One, as you just mentioned. We think the WWE audience, already big on a global level, only gets bigger with a show like that.
So potentially a lot to look forward to. So it sounds like WWE and Netflix are going to work on things outside of Raw here, that it's not just about this one program.
keep in mind at WWE, we have a whole treasure trove of intellectual property that is largely untouched. So if you look at what Disney has done, certainly that was through acquisition with Marvel, with Lucasfilm. If you look what Warner Brothers Discovery did when they acquired DC a long time ago, you now have this treasure trove at Netflix that's available to produce. So things like The Undertaker, characters that have been created over time, we're looking forward to getting to all of that with Netflix as well.
Nick, a really fantastic question that our producer Joe Choffey has is about tech and infrastructure. This deal doesn't kick in until Jan 2025. Is that because Netflix needs time to know they can support a live stream of that scale weekly?
No, not at all. It just timed out budget-wise to start in January. But I'll tell you this, WWE with the WWE Network that I referenced from 2014, we're turnkey programming. So number one, Netflix knows how to distribute it and make sure that it goes around the world live. It's not going to be any issue. We also know how to do it. So the partnership, even on that level, we think it's going to be a great thing.
Nick, 10 seconds. How many new eyeballs will you get in 2025 that you don't have already through this deal?
Well, look, against the college football playoff, the two semifinals game on a Monday night a couple weeks ago, you're talking about Michigan, Alabama in the game. We did a 0.6 in the demo with millions in the overall rating, again, against stiff competition. So we think with the Netflix reach, it's millions and millions around the globe. We're excited about the whole thing.